to the voiceless. 101.1 FM. Listen.
We declare that human rights are for all of us, all the time, wherever we are and wherever we are from. This is a matter of individual justice, social stability, and global progress. The United Nations protects human rights because that is our proud mission. And because when people enjoy their rights, economies flourish and countries are at peace. Violations of human rights are more than personal tragedies. They are alarm bells that may warn of a much bigger crisis. The UN's Human Rights Upfront Initiative aims to heed those alarms. We are rallying in response to violations before they degenerate into mass atrocities or war crimes. Everyone can advance the struggle against injustice, intolerance, and extremism. I call on states to honor their obligations to protect human rights every day of the year. I call on people to hold their governments to account. And I call for special protections for the human rights defenders who courageously serve our collective cause. Let us respond to the cries of the exploited and uphold the right to human dignity for all.
Human Rights Radio.
Your right, my right, our right. Everybody's right is protected. Human Rights Radio, redefining broadcasting.
Human Rights Radio.
The time is 6 o'clock. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo urges APC governors and stresses the need to act fast on economy and ASU strike. Militants kill at least 40 villagers in East Congo attacks. Iran describes IAEA's demands as excessive. In sports, Nigerian midfielder Frank Onyeka set to join Middlesbrough on loan. Good evening, this is the Global News on Human Rights Radio and Television. I am Harirat Ismaila. Details of this and many more shortly. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Tuesday received governors of the All Progressive Congress (APC) in his office at the presidential villa on Tuesday. During the brief interaction that followed at the meeting, important national issues were also raised, particularly the economy and the academic staffing of universities, ASU strike. The Vice President and the governors agreed to further engage these issues and other pressing ones in order to bring urgent resolution for the benefit of Nigerians. In his remarks, the Vice President said they all need to work together on these critical issues and to act fast. Present at the meeting were Governors Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi State, Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, Simon Lalong of Plateau State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, Mohammed Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak of Kwara State, Abubakar Sani Bello of Niger State, Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State, and the Deputy Governor of Ebonyi State, Kelechi Igwe. At least 40 civilians have been killed by suspected Islamist militants in a string of attacks on several villages in East Democratic Republic of Congo between last week Thursday and Monday. Reports say the assailants, believed to be members of the Allied Democratic Forces ADF, first targeted a group of villagers from North Kivu province that had crossed into neighboring Ituri province to look for arable land near the Ituri River on August 25th. The coordinator of the local group Convention for the Respect of Human Rights, CRDH, Christophe Mourdayeru, said ADF fighters had executed over 40 men, women, and children in 5 villages since Thursday. The head of the surrounding Babila by Ko locality, Charles Kisubu Ndukadi, confirmed that rebels had attacked several villages and most bodies were yet to be recovered. The ADF, a Ugandan militia with ties to Islamic State, is one of several armed groups wrangling over resources and attacking civilians in Congo's east, which is rich in minerals such as tin, tantalum, tungsten, and gold. The British military says it is not clear how far Ukrainian troops have pushed into territory held by Russian forces as Kyiv's long-threatened southern counter-offensive got underway. The British Defense Ministry disclosed on Tuesday in its intelligence updates on the war that several brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces increased the weight of artillery fires in frontline sectors across southern Ukraine as Ukrainian long-range precision strikes continue to disrupt Russian resupply lines, which London described as fragile, but warned that it was not yet possible to confirm the extent of Ukrainian advances. Half a year into Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the military leadership in Kyiv signaled on Monday that it was beginning operations to retake areas across the south while releasing a few details. The Ukrainian military said the Russians' outermost line of defense in the Kherson region has been breached in several places. And meanwhile, local authorities say that Finland will close down a stretch of one of its main highways for a week in September to allow its air force to practice kickoffs and landings on a road designed to serve as a reserve runway in wartime. In recent months, the Nordic country has significantly increased its military training as it applies for membership of the NATO's alliance as a result of its eastern neighbor Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Finland, which fought back an invasion attempt by the Soviet Union during World War II, has been preparing its military for possible aggression by Russia for decades. The Finnish Air Force Academy said in a statement on Tuesday that the Air Force regularly rehearses, relying on places beyond its home bases in order to be able to spread the aircraft rapidly across the country if need be. Regional Manager of the Center for Economic Development, Transport and the Environment, Jeremy Konen, says that closing down a 4.5-kilometer leg of the E75 arterial highway in southern Finland will send about 7,000 cars daily on an hour-long detour. The governor of Arizona on Tuesday arrived in Taiwan, being the latest in a succession of officials from the United States to visit, defying pressure from China for such trips not to take place. During his 3-day visit, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey, a Republican, is expected to meet with Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen and companies in the semiconductor industry. The world's largest contract chip maker, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company Limited, is building a $12 billion plant in the United States of Arizona. Taiwan has hosted a succession of officials from the United States since a visit by the delegation led by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi earlier this month, which enraged China. Beijing responded to Pelosi's visit with military drills close to the island that included launches of ballistic missiles over Taipei for the first time and by cutting some lines of dialogue with Washington. The United Arab Emirates Ministry of Health and Prevention has confirmed 512 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of recorded infections to 1,014,899. The ministry announced this in a statement on Tuesday, stressing that it intends to continue expanding the scope of testing nationwide to facilitate the early detection of the cases and carry out the necessary treatment. The statement noted that as part of the ministry's intensified testing campaign, about 346,725 additional COVID-19 tests were conducted over the past 24 hours, while the infected individuals from various nationalities are in stable condition and receiving the necessary care. It further said that no new fatalities were in the past 24 hours, towards the death toll still stands at 2,341, adding that 536 additional persons had fully recovered from COVID-19, bringing the total number of recoveries to 993,740. You can follow all our programs live at Bracketed TV on channel 110 and Human Rights TV on channel 113, all on TSTV. You can also catch us live on the internet on YouTube and Facebook with the handles Human Rights Radio TV and Bracketed TV. Stay connected to the station redefining broadcasting. Now to the rest of the news. In the rest of the news, Iran has warned that it will not accept the UN's nuclear watchdog's excessive demands. This was made known in a statement on Tuesday by the spokesperson of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization, Behrouz Kalmavandi. After months of indirect talks, Tehran and Washington are struggling to revive a 2015 nuclear deal. The major highlight is Tehran's insistence that the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, closed its probes into uranium traces found at 3 undeclared sites before the nuclear pact is revived. Kalmavandi said Iran considers the IAEA's demands excessive because their implementation is impossible due to sanctions, stressing that if they lift sanctions, Iran will reciprocate. It is, however, not clear if Kalmavandi was referring to the IAEA's probes. And now to business news. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has read out a riot act to local airline operators in the country over 19 billion naira in debts. The Director General of NCAA, Captain Musa Nuhu, issued the threat at a briefing in Lagos with members of the airline operators of Nigeria and ground handlers on Tuesday, stressing that the aviation regulator will not hesitate to suspend the certificates of air operators defaulting airlines. The regulatory agency stated that any indebted airline must enter into a memorandum of understanding for payment, noting that any airline that defaults 3 times will have its AOC suspended. Nuhu further said that airline operators are tarnishing the images of government agencies over their current woes, noting that domestic airlines have collected over 19 billion naira and did not remit to the NCAA for onward distribution. He also disclosed that the NCAA and other agencies are set to review agency charges after 13 years. I'm moving away from business news to the world of sports. Nigerian's midfielder Frank Onyeka is on the verge of joining English Championship club Middlesbrough on loan. Reports say that Onyeka's Premier League club Brentford is holding talks with Middlesbrough for the transfer. The 24-year-old, who only linked up with Brentford from Danish Superliga club FC Midtjylland last summer, was the bid's record signing at the time, with the club parting with 10 million euros to secure his services. Onyeka made 20 league appearances for the London club during the 2021-2022 campaign, but has struggled for regular game time this term after having played just 10 minutes in Brentford's 4 Premier League games. And still in sports news, Manchester United has officially announced the signing of Anthony from Ajax. The Red Devils disclosed this in a statement via its website on Tuesday, noting that the club has reached agreements with Ajax for the player's transfer, subject to a medical, player terms being finalized, and international clearance. Anthony, who has 31 goals and 27 assists in 134 club appearances for Ajax and Sao Paulo, and 2 goals and 2 assists in 9 senior appearances for his native Brazil, has won 2 Eredivisie titles and a gold medal in the 2020 Summer Olympics. In a related development, Chelsea on Tuesday confirmed that winger Callum Hudson-Odoi has left the club to join Bayer Leverkusen on loan. Chelsea said in a statement via its website that Hudson Odoi will spend the rest of the 2022-2023 season on loan in Germany with Bayer Leverkusen. And to end the global news on Human Rights Radio and Television, here is a recap of the main stories. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo urges APC governors and stresses the need to act fast on economy and ASU strike. Militants kill at least 40 villagers in East Congo attacks. Iran describes IAEA's demands as excessive. And sports, Nigeria's midfielder Frank Onyeka set to join Middlesbrough on loan. This bulletin was produced by Novlin Unwankwo at the newsroom with Muhammad Tani Babangida at the MCR of the Human Rights Media City News Center. I am Hadirat